All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this day three of our Lean Six Sigma Black Belt Certification Hackathon. Yes, so before we go deeper today into today's topic, let's recap whatever we have seen in last 2 days. Okay, can we recap? Let's recap for the day two, which was yesterday, and then we'll recap for the day one, which was day before yesterday. Okay, चलो आपका notes निकालो and just type in the chat box yesterday what we have covered. Type in the chat box. Let's do the recap and recover our 86% forgotten material. चलिए type in the chat box quickly. Let me see how many of you are ready, could check the material, could check the notes later. So yesterday we spoke about, yeah, can you just put a screen a little closer to me? Thank you very much. Haji, so we actually spoke about advanced hypothesis testing, correct? And advanced regression. All right. So in the basic hypothesis testing, we cover one sample t-test, two sample t-test. That is what. And what is hypothesis testing? What is p-value? Everything is covered in the green belt level, the basic level, right? In the black belt level, we cover the advanced level, which includes ANOVA. Very good, Amritaji. ANOVA, chi-square test. Then we have seen how to check the p-value manually. Yes? You remember that? How do we check the p-value manually? Yes. So that example, which, yeah, the statistical tables, correct. So we use that one sample z-test statistical tables. On that basis, we calculated the p-value manually, right? Then we have seen ANOVA chi-square test. Apart from that, pair t-test. Let me share with you the screen. So I'm a little not well today. So I might have the fever and the bad throat. Yeah. So if you remember this one, I was talking about. So if you have the, so there are three types of hypothesis testing, what we have seen. The one is called the mean, the hypothesis testing of the mean, basically. All right. Which is the average, the central tendency. Then the second one is the hypothesis testing of the variability. And the third one is the hypothesis testing for the proportion. So in the mean, we have seen one sample t-test, two sample t-test, which is if you are comparing sample with a standard, one sample t-test. If you are comparing two samples with each other, two sample t-test. Okay. Now, if the sample is common and tested against two different scenarios, go for pair t-test. For that, the sample has to be the same. Then, if we are having more than two samples, go for ANOVA. Correct? So we have seen how to calculate the probability value, which is p-value manually, and then with the help of Minitab as well. So in the variability, if you remember, I mentioned that this is the distribution. So for the mean X bar, we have this, the t-test, one sample t-test, two sample t-test, pair t-test, ANOVA. Now, but if I want to compare the variability of one data distribution and the variability of another data distribution, okay, in that case, I will go for, if there are two groups, I will go for F ratio test. And if there are more than two groups, then I'll go for test of equal variance. Okay. And now if I want to compare the proportions, like let's say percentage rejection shift wise, I'll go for test of two proportion. If it is more than two shifts or two groups, let's say three groups, etc., then we'll go for chi-square test. Russ, remember everybody, just type yes in the chat box. Just give me yes in the chat box if you remember this. Clear hai? Super everybody. Yes. Very good. After that, what we have seen? इसके बाद क्या देखा? We have seen advanced regression, correct? So in the basic regression in the green belt level, we have seen the scatter plot and the simple linear regression, y is equal to a plus bx. And yesterday, we have seen three various types of regressions. One, we have seen Scatter plot, the multiple scatter plot is called matrix plot we have seen yesterday. Everybody remembers matrix plot? Just type yes in the chat box. If you remember matrix plot, where we can find out the relationship of one y and multiple x's in one shot. That is called matrix plot. Everybody remember? Just give me yes in the chat box if you do remember. Everybody pull out your notes, yesterday's notes, so that you can easily refer that. And then we have seen linear regression. We have seen in the green belt level itself. Yesterday we have seen quadratic equation where the square terms are there, and the cubic equation where the cube terms, which is raised to 3 terms, were there. Okay, so those 3 models, and whichever r square value fits the most, fits the best, that model we have to basically select. Okay, that is what regression and hypothesis advanced and hypothesis regression we have covered. Clear, everybody? Could you recollect everything? Just give me yes in the chat box. Recollected? Give me yes confirmation so that we'll move to the next one. Today's very interesting topic we are going to discuss about. Okay. And today we are going to discuss something very interesting, and the name of the topic is DOE. Everybody just type DOE in the chat box. DOE. DOE is also called as design of experiments, a very, very specialized section of the black belt. And the beauty is that it is not only conducted in manufacturing, but it can be conducted in the service sector as well. So DOE is a very, very powerful tool, which we as a Lean Six Sigma people, as a certified people, have in our arsenal. Okay. So that is what we are going to learn today. Design of experiments. Okay. Now, the basic design of experiments we cover in the black belt. The advanced design of experiments we cover in the master black belt level. Okay. So, see, in the master black belt level also, we go deeper into certain statistical concept. Certain tools are there which are specially designed for master black belt. I will touch upon that after the break today. Okay. Now, what is DOE? Let's understand this. Now, till this point in time, in the green belt and the black belt, understand this. Whenever we collect the data was collected in a reactive way. What is that reactive way meaning? Reactive way meaning the data was, once the processing is done, then we collect the data. Yes or no? The quality data, the production data, the sales data, the the defect data, downtime data. Once it is done, it has happened. Okay, then we collect the data. That is called a reactive way of collecting the data, right? And after that, we analyze it. Once we collect the reactive data, once the process is done, we collect the data and then we analyze. Then we make time series plot, control chart, stratification, hypothesis, regression. All these are done, once we collect the reactive data. There is another way which is called active or proactive data, where in which we present in the process and we play with the process. We change the parameters of the process and then we collect the data. And this is called experiment with the changes to the process and measure the result. And that is called design of experiment. So reactive way is the process is done, we collect the data, and from that data, whatever analysis we have to do, box plot, histogram, time series, control chart, hypothesis, regression, all these are reactive ways of analyzing the data. But there is another way which is more powerful way, which is called active way or proactive way. It is called design of experiment, in which we basically, let's imagine, let's say we are making a cup of tea. Okay. Now in that cup of tea, basically we are making the changes in, let's say, sugar quantity, some milk quantity, some tea powder, rest of the process parameters we are keeping constant. And then we are observing what is the impact on the test. And then we are statistically, basically, analyze it as well. That is a very powerful way, that is called reactive way or active way is called design of experiments. Clear, everybody? The difference between reactive and the active way of collecting the data? Just type yes in the chat box. Clear hai? Just give me yes quickly. Just give me yes in the chat box. Super, super, super. Amazing. Haji. What do you want me to repeat? Yeah. So let me repeat this. Reactive way meaning once the process is done, and active way meaning during the process we are making the changes and then we are collecting data. For example, like production data. Once the production is done, then we collect the data. The quality data, the defects, rejection, okay. The process is done, then we check the quality and then we collect the data. It is a reactive way of collecting the data. There is another way which is called active data, where we are actively present in the process. We tweak the process and check what is the impact on the output. That is called design of experiments. Clear? Yes? Just give me yes in the chat box. Very good. Super. Chalo. Let me give you a very simple, very interesting example for this. Okay. I want to take you to your college days. Okay. Those green college days where we used to enjoy a lot of friends. Okay. It was a enthusiasm of the youth, exuberance of the youth, everything we experienced during those days when we were, at the teenage. Okay. The energy level is at the peak. So at that point in time, okay, you are in college now only. So you can correlate to this very, 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 very well. Okay, Anushka? Super. Now, so let me give you this example. And whenever I explain this example, it reminds me to a movie kind of Jo Jeeta Wohi Sikandar kind of a movie, where there are friends and there are female friends, the girlfriends and all those things. Okay, so here is the scenario. There are three friends, Vijay, Sanjay, and Ajay. Okay. And they go to college together every day. Understand this, okay? There are three friends, Vijay, Sanjay, Ajay. They go to that college every day together. Okay. One day they had noticed that Sia, who is Vijay's neighbor, okay, smiling at them while they were going to college. Wow. That's a scenario, isn't it? Okay. So Sia, who was Vijay's neighbor, she was standing in the gallery, and she was giving a beautiful smile to these three young teenagers. Okay. Now, Sia smiled at them. The next day also, those three people were very excited. Okay. Yeah. So, at that point in time, we had some opposite gender attraction and all this going on, right? So, but there is confusion, right? When three friends are there, the confusion is, who is that lucky person to whom Sia is smiling? Okay. So they wanted to just check out how we can find out who is that guy, where, so they have just learned about design of experiments in their statistics class. Okay. So they want to find out the experiment, how we can find out, who is that lucky person to whom Sia is smiling. Okay. So what they do is they conduct an experiment like this. Okay. Look at this. So the first case where all three were there, look at this. Vijay, Sanjay, Ajay was there and Sia is smiling. Next day, Vijay was not there. Sanjay and Ajay was there. Sia is still smiling. Vijay was, by the way, her neighbor, right? But still she's smiling. Okay. Then Vijay and Ajay was there. Sanjay was not there. Still Sia smiled. The fourth round, now this is every day. Okay. They are just doing some experiment. They are just using all the permutation combination here. The next day, only Vijay and Sanjay went. Ajay was not there. My God, this is something interesting. Sia did not smile. Wow, something very interesting, isn't it? So, so Ajay is the lucky person. Fantastic. So that is where we conclude very easily, right? So one experimental run and we easily conclude that, okay, this must be the reason for this, correct? Then the experiment continues. Only Sanjay was there. She doesn't smile. Only Vijay was there, her neighbor, but then also she doesn't smile. Now this is a twist in the tale. Look at this. Run number 7. Only Ajay was there. Still she didn't smile. Wow, there has to be some test in the, twist in the tail, right? Otherwise, picture kaun dekhega? Who will watch the movie if there is a straight love story, correct? A hero and heroine, went into, what do you say, the college, and they, fell in love and got married. Koi bhi nahi dekhega movie, right? There has to be some twist. So then they continue with this. Okay. So then Sanjay Ajay was there, she smiled. Then Vijay Sanjay was there, she didn't smile. Okay. And it continues. Now, interestingly, they identified the pattern and they wanted to do an analysis of the data. And the analysis looks like this. And this is called effect plot. Okay. This is called as effect plot. Can you see that? Okay. Let me just share it once again. So once they collected the data, they plotted it on a graph called effect plot. Now let's try to understand this. Okay. Now the first one is Vijay. Now when Vijay was absent, okay, so it is Sia basically. Sia smiled 3 times. When Vijay was present, Sia smiled for 3 times. So Vijay's absence or present. Do you remember yesterday's correlation? Positive correlation, negative correlation, and no correlation. How many of you remember that? Do you remember? It's the same fundamental here. Now, Vijay's presence and absence does not make any difference in Sia's smile. Okay. Now, Sanjay. So, बिचारा Vijay तो neighbor का तो दांडी गुल हो गया. So, उसका chance चला गया. Now, Sanjay. Now, when Sanjay was absent, she smiled for 2 times. When Sanjay was present, she smiled for 4 times. Of course, there is a positive correlation here. Okay, but look at Ajay, guys. This is something very interesting. When Ajay was absent, she only smiled once. But when Ajay was present, she smiled for 7 times almost. So there is a huge, very, very stiff slope here. And that means Ajay's presence is making huge impact on Sia's smile. Are you clear with this? So who is the winner according to this? Type in the chat box. Who is the winner? Wow. Ajay. Fantastic. Super. Now the question is, why did she smile? Why didn't she smile at Ajay once? When Ajay was there, she didn't smile once, right? What could be the reason? Type in the chat box. क्या हो सकता है reason? If you go back, this was the 7th occasion. Okay. Even 8th occasion as well, she didn't smile. But what could be the reason for this? Type in the chat box. Her mood was bad. Okay. Or Ajay was with another girl. Wow. Zabardast twist. Anushka has put another twist. Ajay was with another girl. If Ajay, if Ajay would have found with another girl, she would not have given another smile to him, right? Yes or no? Yes, with dad. This is fantastic. Her dad could be besides her, or her elder brother could be, or mother could be besides her or behind her. We never know who's watching her. Okay, that might be the reason, but there is a special reason which we need to investigate. But this is a fantastic way of finding out which factor is impacting the most. And this is called main effect plot, which we are going to learn today. Clear? Interesting story, yes or no? And this is one way, this is a fundamental way of creating design of experiment. Now, how it is created, that is what we are going to learn. Clear? Interesting, yes or no? Very interesting. Super. Chalo. So, now, when we basically, earlier, okay, experiments were happening earlier as well. It's not like design of experiments only started the experiment. Experiments were happening for 200 years. But the still majority of the companies, okay, including pharmaceutical companies as well, they do experiments with one factor at a time. Whenever they have to do the experiment, that is called one factor at a time. For example, let's look at this. Okay. What is called one factor at a time, or OFAT? OFAT meaning OFAT. Everybody please type OFAT, because this is a question a lot of time asked in the paper, that what was the original name of the experimental thing, which is called OFAT. Okay. OFAT, one factor at a time. Now look at this. Now imagine we are experimenting on test of T. Imagine that. Okay. Now factor one could be sugar. Factor two could be milk. Factor three could be water. Factor four could be tea powder, etc., and all the other factors. Okay. So what in the experiment, what we decide is there's a sign called minus and plus in this table you will find. So we find a range in which we want to do the experiment. For example, for sugar, let's say I want to do the experiment with 1 tablespoon, 1 TS, and 2 TS, 2 tablespoons. So for 1 cup of tea, I want to check what is the impact of the test if I put 1 tablespoon sugar, and what will be the impact on the test if I put 2 tablespoons of the sugar. If it is 1, which is the lower setting, it will be denoted as negative. And if it is higher setting, it will be denoted as positive. Similarly, let's say milk. Okay. Now for milk, let's say if I put half a cup, okay, half a cup of milk, okay, and full cup of milk. I'm just giving you raw example. Just try to understand. Mujhe chai banani nahi aati. Don't laugh at me, okay? So half a cup will be denoted as negative or minus sign, and full cup will be denoted as positive. Similarly, water as well. Let's say, half a cup of water will be negative and full cup will be positive. Similarly, maybe, 1 tablespoon of tea powder and 2 tablespoons. So 1 tablespoon will be negative and 2 tablespoons positive. Are you clear? This is how we decide the range in which we will experiment. Clear? Just give me yes in the chat box. So we will decide all the factors and then we'll decide the range of that. The lower range will be denoted by negative, and higher range will be denoted as positive. Clear, everybody? Just give me yes in the chat box. Just give me yes quickly. I've just taken a very simple mundane example of test of tea. I want to prepare and I want to improve the test, and I want to do the experiment with all the factors. ठीक है, आप ये करके देखो. In fact, I would highly recommend, please do this. Okay. And then ask your spouse to test the tea and give the rating on the scale of 1 to 10. Can you just do this experiment? I'll give you all the details. We'll make a Minitab exercise and then you can perform, and then you can make a cup of tea and then let your spouse test it and give the rating. Clear? So that you will understand what exactly can be done. All right. Super. Now, similarly, you can see here. So let's go for the trial. Okay. So there are various trials we are doing. The first trial, we keep all the factors at the lower setting, meaning sugar will be 1 tablespoon. Factor 2, milk will be half a cup. Factor 3 will be water, half a cup. Tea will be again 1 tablespoon, and so on and so forth. Whatever are the 5, 4, 6, and 7. Okay, you can, if you don't want, you can remove them. Okay, it is the first trial, and then you will check the test. So you have to give it to your spouse and give the rating on the scale of 1 to 10. If it is fantastic, then you can give 8 or 9. Okay, let's say 9. Then comes the second. In the second trial, what we do is one factor at a time. Let's just understand this. What is one factor at a time? We just change one factor, keeping all the other factors constant. For example, then we change this factor number 1 from minus to plus, which means from 1 tablespoon, we convert it to 2 tablespoons. So in the next cup, we just make a cup of tea with 2 tablespoons sugar, and rest everything will be as it is. And then we will test. Maybe it comes to 8. Are you clear? Then the third trial, we will again revert the first one. And now we will change the second factor. The milk, instead of half a cup, will go for full cup. Rest all the factors will be constant. And then we will check whatever is the rating. Okay, so similarly, we will do all this experiment. Clear, everybody? This is called one factor at a time experiment, where we only change one factor and keep all the other factors absolutely constant. Super clear, everybody? Just give me yes in the chat box. Very good, very good. Now, there is a second version of this, and that is called keeper strategy. This is also one factor at a time along with keeper strategy. Okay, it's an advanced version of the one factor at a time, in which the first trial remains same. Look at this. Okay, if the first trial is there, so that will remain same. Then we will take the response. Okay, then we do the second trial, exactly same as it is. Now you can see the response has improved. I'm just giving you an example. When there is a response improvement, we will keep that change as it is. Can you see here? Factor number one was first, it was negative, which was minus. Then the second second trial, we just change it to plus. Okay. And it has brought almost 0.15 improvement in the response. And for that, what we'll do is we will keep. That means once I increase the factor one, there is a positive impact on response. And that's why I will keep the factor one as positive throughout my experiment. Are you clear? Just type yes in the chat box. Okay. Coming back to trial number 3. Now I will keep this as it is. I will change the factor number 2. But in this case, I'm seeing that the response has gone down. So I will revert this again back to the original setting. Now I will change the second setting. Okay. Similarly, whichever setting has brought me a better result, that setting I will just keep. Look and see here. Okay. That setting actually I will keep as it is. This is called keeper strategy, keeping the factor setting at the same level where it is showing improvement in the response. It is called keeper strategy. One OFAT ka revised version hai keeper strategy. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat. Very simple. Clear? Everybody? Super. Now, let's understand this. One of the automotive company, they wanted to check the mileage. Okay, they had taken a Lean Six Sigma project, and they wanted to improve mileage from 18 kilometer per liter to 30 kilometer per liter. Okay, so they found out all the factors. Correct? Now everybody knows 80-20 principle, right? Okay, let's say if I have 10 factors or maybe 15 factors, will all of them will be important or critical? Will all of them will be critical? Type in the chat box. If I have, let's say, 15 factors impacting my process, will all of them be critical or important or significant? Type in the chat box, everybody. Think about it, then give me the answer. Yeah, if I have, let's say, 15 factors, will all of them, when I say important, which means if I put a X and Y relationship of that, okay, their R square value will be 65% and above. They are called important factors. Yes? Now, everywhere, exactly, fantastic. Sridharji, you are absolutely right. Everywhere there will be 80-20 principle. Remember this. Out of 10, you will find 2 very important factors, significant critical factors. Rest will be insignificant. Understand this. Out of 15, there will be 3 to 4 significant factor. Rest see, it's very simple. 80-20, very simple hai. Logic use kariye. Even in a cricket match, in the scoring, only 2 to 3 batsmen score the runs, maximum runs. 80% of the runs are scored by 20% of the batsmen. 80% of the wickets are taken by 20% of the bowlers. Not all the bowlers take the exact wicket. Are you understanding this? So here, with the same funda, They have identified, let's say, 7 to 8 factors, out of which, the octane rating, which is the gas rating, the speed of the car, which is the driver drive slower, etc., and the tire pressure. They found, with their experience, they found this to be critical factors. Clear? Everybody got the scenario? And they want to go for this OFAT. Okay, OFAT keeper strategy. Clear? Scenario clear hai? So one Lean Six Sigma project, they want from 18 kmpl to 30 kmpl. They have identified the factors, they have identified the critical factors, and they want to check which factor impacts the most. Okay, clear hai? Just give me yes in the chat box. Background clear ho gaya scenario ka? Just give me yes. Yes, no. Super, super, amazing. Exactly. Vital ones they have found out. Okay. Now, so this is how they have identified, for example. So these are the three factors. Okay. For example, speed. So lower setting for speed was 55, higher setting was 60. So minus is 55, plus is 60. For octane, lower setting is 85, which is minus, and higher setting was 90, which is plus. Tire pressure, lower setting was 30, which is minus, and higher setting was 35, which is plus. And this is your Y, which is your result, mileage kmpl, kilometer per liter. So they ran the first run. This is the first run, all minus. Okay. So speed is minus, lower setting, octane lower setting, tire pressure lower setting. They got 23 kilometer per liter. They drive the vehicle. They found 23 kilometer per liter mileage. Now the second one, they change the first factor. They keep the rest same factor as it is. And they found some improvement in the mileage. So they keep the factor constant. And they alter this factor. Now, the moment they alter this factor, octane, their mileage went down again to square one, which is 23. So they go back to again the octane 85 setting. Okay. After that, they change this setting where a marginal improvement is taken. So what is the best setting here, guys? Type in the chat box. Which setting is the best setting? 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which setting is the best setting? Type in the chat box quickly. Very simple. The second setting is the best setting. So if they finalize this setting, it should give them the best result, right? Okay, ideally speaking, because it has given them the highest kilometer per liter average, the mileage. Okay. Now, here is the catch. But when they did a full factorial experiment, they found sometimes they reach up to 37 kilometer per liter and 36 kilometer per liter as well. Okay. So this is called a full factorial design. And how did they do that? Let me give you this example. Very, very simple example. Okay. This is called full factorial design. Okay. Full factorial design, which we are going to learn in this DOE today. Now, how many runs will be there in one experiment? So this is called one design of experiment. This is entire called experiment. Okay. So how many runs are there in this experiment? It's found out with the formula. Okay. So number of runs is equal to, write this down, L raised to F. Everybody just write this down in your notepad. Number of runs are decided by L raised to F, where L is equal to levels and F is equal to factors. Now in this case, speed is a factor. Okay, F1. Octane is a factor, F2. Tire pressure is a factor, F3. Clear? And what is level? Every factor has a two level, lower level and higher level, right? So in this case, we have got two levels and three factors. Correct? So L raised to F, meaning 2 raised to 3 is equal to 8. That's why we have got 8 runs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Clear? Everybody just give me yes in the chat box. And there is a formula to create this experimental table. I will just explain you. Are you clear with this? how to find out number of runs, L raised to F. This is also asked in the exam paper a lot of times. What is the formula to calculate number of runs in DOE? The formula is L raised to F, level raised to factors. In this case, 2 levels raised to 3 factors is equal to 8 runs. So I have to conduct 8 runs, to complete this full factorial design. Are you clear with it? Just give me yes in the chat box. सबको क्लियर हो गया है ये? Simple. Level is lower level and higher level, Amrita. So for example, speed, you can see the lower level is 55, higher level is 60. For octane, lower level is, so minus and, let me give you minus and plus. Okay. Here, octane is minus and higher level is plus, is 90. Tire pressure, lower level is 30, higher level is 35. Okay, clear? So the levels are higher level and lower level. So there are 2 levels only we have decided. So 2 raised to 3. Clear? Now, how do we identify, how do we make this table? Very simple. For the first factor, this is factor number 1, right? So for factor number 1, we change. So this is factor number 1, factor number 2, and factor number 3. So for the first factor, if the level is 1, that means 1 experiment. No, L raised to F, right? So one level we will not recommend you to do the experiment, because then we will not understand the variation, no? Only one level we will not find out the experiment. Only एक ही point का हमें अंदाजा आएगा, right? So we always suggest at least take 2 points so that we can do the experiment. ठीक है ना? Now here, for the first factor, factor 1, the first factor will go like minus, okay? Yeah, factors are 5. Oh, let's say factors are 5, L raised to F. Okay, so levels are 2 raised to 5. So what will be the answer? It will be 32. Correct? No, level should not be 1. Level has to be minimum 2. Then only experiment will make sense. Level at least 2 होना चाहिए. ठीक है? Then only, see, experiment क्या है? Yeah, see, what is experiment? Let's try to understand this now. If this is the factor, let's understand this. Let's imagine that there is a speed and 55. You want to keep only one level, 55. That means you are already sure that we have to keep the speed at 55, or there could be a technical reason, or there could be some what you can say, some scientific reason where you cannot change that. Do not keep that as an experimental factor. Then what is experimental factor? Which we can play around that factor, right? We can change the setting of the factor and check the impact. Correct? No, in our first example of Ajay, Vijay, Sanjay, absence and presence was the experimental factor. Are you understanding this? Absence and presence, these were the 2 levels. Correct? So I always have to have yeah, so in fuel fact where there is no level, that is not the experimental factor. Are you clear? Just type yes in the chat box. So if there is only one level you have, इसके आप आगे भी नहीं जा सकते, पीछे भी नहीं जा सकते, that is not your experimental factor. I will define what is experimental factor to you, okay, in a while. Okay, that will clarify this. Clear, everybody? So Sridharji's question is, can we keep the level only 1? So if the level is 1, we will keep it as constant. No, we will not experiment with this. So that will not be that much of what you can say, will not experiment with that factor. Okay. Anyways, chalo. So how do we create this full factorial experiment? The first factor we will create minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus. Understand this. First factor will always alter after every run. Okay, there are 8 runs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 runs. In every run, that factor is altering. So one is lower level, another higher level. One is lower level, another is higher level. Clear? Second factor will alter after every 2 levels, after every 2 runs. Like for example, minus, minus, plus, plus, minus, minus, plus, plus. Everybody? So here I am writing first factor after every 1 run you have to alter. Second factor after every 2 runs you have to alter. Okay. The third factor after every 4 runs you have to alter. For example, minus, 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 plus, 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 plus. Clear? Just like yes in the chat box. Everybody clear? And you will observe this. This exactly is followed here in this table. How many of you got this? Just type yes in the chat box. किसको समझ में आया है? Any doubt in this? Any doubt? Have you understood this? Super. Clear है? Now, what if I have 4 factors? What if I have 4 factors? That's the question. Let me ask the question. Let's say I have 4 factors. How many runs will be there? L raised to F. 2 raised to 4. How many runs will be there? 16 runs. Clear, everybody? If, let's say, I have 4 factors. Okay. Speed, octane, tire pressure. Let's say this is my 4 factors are there. So how many runs will be there? There will be 16 runs. Correct? Now the 4th factor will alter after every 8 runs and not 5 runs. So observe this. First is 1, second is 2, third is 4, the 4th is 8. That means it will be like minus, 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 and following 8 will be plus, 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 and plus, 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 plus. Clear, everybody? First 8 will be all lower setting. The remaining 8 will be all higher setting. Clear? Just give me yes in the chat box. This is how you can create a full factorial design manually as well. आप manually भी कर सकते हो. But we have a fantastic software with us where we do not require to do it manually. Clear? Super clear, everybody? Just give me yes in the chat box. Amazing, amazing, super. Yeah, level will always be 2. It can be greater. Yes, it can be greater as well. But only problem is the moment you increase the level, okay, then the number of runs also will increase. Okay. So just look at this. Let's say instead of 2, let's say we have 3 levels. Okay. So 3 raised to 4. How many number of runs will be there? 3 into 3 into 3 into 3. How many? Type in the chat box. Will it be 81? 81 runs. Can you see here? So it goes exponentially very high. That's what we suggest. Instead of lower, medium, and high, you just select high, lower, and higher setting. Okay. And you can easily, get the equation, right? Linear equation we get, and we can easily predict the value of M. So you need not to run that separately. We can easily predict the value. Okay? Super hai? Clear hai, everybody? Full factorial experimental design, and then we will run it, and then we will check what is the maximum impacting factor. Super clear? This is called design of experiments. Full factorial design. Just give me yes in the chat box if you have understood this. How to create a full factorial design. If you have understood, let me know in the chat box. Understood or clear or whatever. Give me yes, give me thumbs up, whatever. Clear hai? Fantastic. Super. Chaliye. So just sit with open mind. You will understand this. Okay. Now let's understand. There are various types of factors. Okay. Let's understand the terminology first. Okay. So what is experiment? Experiment meaning that entire 8 runs, it's called experiment or design of experiment. DOE is also called as experiments. Okay. A methodical procedure of collecting data in a structured format for further analysis to validate assumption or hypothesis. Okay. So this is called DOE, the experiment. The outcome is nothing but the why. What we are checking. In this case, for the other case, it was CR smile. The first case was CR smile. In this case, it was KMPL, which is the mileage of the automobile. Okay. Then factors are the parameters of the process which deliberately vary, to trial. This could be qualitative and quantitative. This is very, very interesting. Why, why design of experimentation is so unique? You can take a qualitative data as well. What is qualitative data? For example, operator skill. Okay, let's say operator skill is low and high. I can experiment with operator skill low and high in the design of experiment. So I don't have to have continuous data only. I can do DOE with with discrete data as well. That's the beauty of DOE. And that's the reason DOE can be implemented in the service industry as well effectively, because not only continuous data can be used, the the discrete data also can be used. Okay, clear? So experiment is the total 8 runs are called experiment. Outcome is the response Y, and there are multiple factors which will change. So there are various types of factors which we'll see. What are the types of factors? हाँ जी, तो पहले देखेंगे लेवल्स. Levels we have already seen. Levels are lower level, higher level. These are called levels. Trials and runs are the same thing. Trials, the 8 trials or 8 runs. Okay. And it can be easily find out as L raised to F, number of levels raised to number of factors. Okay. There's a formula to calculate the trials and runs. Okay. It's the same thing. Trials and runs are the same thing. Don't get confused into the trials and runs. Okay. Now, what are the types of factors we have? Generally, we get 3 types of different types of factors in our process. One is called experimental factor, control factor, and a noise factor. What is experimental factor? Experimental factor are those which we really experiment with. Generally, these are critical factors. Like 80-20 principles, correct? Those 20% factors which impact 80% result, those are these experimental factors. And we select those factors and experiment with them. Okay. The next one are the control factors. These factors are also called as constant factors, or we can say trivial factors. In the 80-20 principle, those 80% of the factors which give 20% of the impact, those are called control factor or the constant factor. So in the experiment, let's say there are 10 total factors and 3 factors which we will, experiment with. Rest all the 7 factors we will keep at constant. We will not change them. Clear? And then there is something called noise factor. What is noise factor? Noise factor neither can be changed or can be fixed at a particular level. For example, environmental temperature. So it is something where we cannot have the control over that. Or let's say environmental humidity in a non-controlled environment. Okay, non-controlled laboratory, let's say, if it is an open space, then the surrounding temperature and humidity, the airflow, all these things are noise factors. Clear? So these are the 3 types of factors: experimental, control, and the noise factors. Clear, everybody? Just give me yes in the chat box. Super clear, everybody? Just give me yes. So this is the terminology of design of experiments. Exactly. So experimental factor are the critical factors. Trivial factors are the control factors which have to be kept constant. And the factors which we cannot control are called noise factors. Simple. Normal wear and tear also considered as noise factor. Yes, normal wear and tear is also considered as a noise factor. Fantastic. Very good. But why we should write down noise factor? At least you should know that this factor also will be impacting. Okay. There is something very interesting that is called a hidden factor, or it is also called as lurking factor. Make a note of this, lurking factor. And to explain this, I'll give you a classic example. So lurking factor and the noise factors are different. Lurking factors are unknown factors. Noise factors are known factors. That's the difference. Yes, Raisji, are you clear? Lurking factors are unknown. We don't know the factors. They're hidden. But the noise factors we know, but we cannot control. Okay? So temperature, atmospheric temperature will impact. We know, but we don't have any control. Okay. The air speed will impact, but I don't have any control on the air speed. The wind speed, I don't have any control. The humidity, I don't have any control. So noise factors are the known factors. Lurking factors are even unknown factors. Let me give you an example of lurking factors. Okay, this is a very fantastic example which is given in your curriculum as well. There was a chicken feed company. Okay, the poultry farm. When we have the poultry farms, and the poultry farm for those chicks, for those hens, whatever feed, the food is given. So there is a company called ABC, let's say. Okay, I'm talking about lurking factor. Huh? I'm just giving you example of lurking factor. There's a company called ABC, and they want to check their new feed. Okay, so what they do, they select one poultry farm, divide the poultry farm into two halves. In the first half, they give the new feed, and in the second half, they give the old feed. Second half meaning they divide the entire poultry unit into two separate sections. One section they give the new feed, and the second section they give the old feed. Okay, and their promises, their brand promises, with this protein rich intake or the food, the weight of the chicken, the weight of the hen will go up. Okay, significantly. That is what. So they are expecting the weight to go up, and in the old one, they are giving the same feed, so they are expecting the weight to remain constant as it is. Okay, they are not expecting any change because the same feed would be continued. Okay, so they continued with 1 month, and after 1 month they collected the data. Okay, let's say the weight was earlier, let's say the weight was let's say 4 kg earlier weight. Okay, 4 kg and a 4 kg. They found that the new feed, chicken's weight has dropped to 3 kg, and the old chicken weight is still remained at 4 kg. Now, this is something very interesting. The feed, which was supposedly increased the weight, but despite of giving the 1 month feed continuously, they found that the weight has been reduced. Okay, so does it mean the chicken feed is not working, or the formula is not working, or their experiment is failed? So the scientists came together and did the brainstorming, inspected the entire space, and they found a very, very interesting factor. Okay, what was that factor? That factor was, there was a slaughterhouse here in this region, just besides this new new feed wala section. There was a slaughterhouse where the chickens were getting killed, okay, and transported. Now, whenever the chicken was caught and to be killed, it was creating that noise, and it was creating some kind of turbulence in this area. And because of the pressure, because of the tension, a psychological tension, this chicken used to what you can say, run around, okay, just for the safety purpose. And that was creating a psychological impact, and that was the main reason. And while experimenting, they did not consider this factor, and that is called lurking factor. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. Yeah, the mental harassment of the chicken. Yes, in the 3rd-degree torture as well. The policemen also use the same strategy, right? If there are 10 criminals, they only take one criminal and beat him up, so that he has to, and he has to scream a lot. The people who hears that, that other people will break down and tell the truth. Okay, that's the fact. That's the strategy basically. Okay, so this is called a lurking factor. In Ajay Vijay Sanjay Sia's experiment, the father's presence was the lurking factor. Are you understanding this? It was never considered in the experiment. It was a lurking factor. I'll give you another example. So there was a dart, dart. What you can say? There was a dart game or championship. Okay, dart championship. Everybody knows we have to hit the target. Correct? All the darts. Okay. Now, while the championship was going on, there was a door which the people who were entering, that door used to open which used to take lot of wind flow, okay, and used to basically swivel or take carry away those darts away, and the people who were shooting the darts were not hitting the target, and that is what something called lurking factor. Clear? Sarfaroz movie scene, Nawazuddin Siddiqui. Yes, the beating up example. Correct, correct. That's a good example. Clear, everybody? Lurking factor. This also is a factor we have to take care of. So, how do we deal with lurking factors? What we do is, first it's called randomization. Okay. First we do randomization of the experiment. For example, we have seen this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but we will not, we will not run the experiment like this. We will randomize the experiment. So the first one, we will do randomization. We will do randomization. Randomization. And the second thing what we do to eliminate the effect of lurking variable is repeat the same experiment again. It's called repetition. So instead of 8 experiment, we will repeat another 8 experiments so that we can compare for the exact same setting. If both the results are very close to each other, that means there is no lurking variable. If the results are way, for example, let's say 55, 85, 30. The kilometer is 23. The first one is 23. If I run the experiment here, 55, 85, 30, okay, and the kilometer comes to be, let's say, 36. So 23 and 36, there is a huge difference. So there has to be a lurking variable. So what we do is we conduct another experiment in that case, and whichever two are very close to each other, those reading we take. Are you clear with this? This is how we actually, by doing randomization and repetition, we control the impact of the lurking variable. Just give me yes in the chat box. If they're very close, let's say instead of 24, you receive 20, let's say 23, like you get 24, it's okay. They're very close by, right? So you need not to do it again. But there is a huge difference. There might be some it might be a recording error. It might be a setting error. Experiment करते वक्त setting में कुछ change हुआ है, right? That also can be a factor. Clear? Fantastic. Now let's do, what we'll do is, we will create, okay, we will create, इसमें और क्या है देखता हूं मैं, main effect plot etc. Okay, चलिए. So एक काम करते हैं, I'm just giving you a Minitab file. Just download that Minitab file, and first we'll create a the full factorial design, and then we will analyze the full factorial design. Okay, super. So I'm just giving you this file. The name of the file is sandwich. Okay, can we consider the run or obey the run for lurking factor? That's what I said. So if there is huge difference between the two outputs of the same setting, I will run the third, only that run I will run it again, okay, till the time I get two similar or two close outputs. Okay, then I will eliminate that so that lurking factor will get eliminated. That's how I will eliminate. Okay, clear? Super. Now let's open this Minitab file. Everybody, once you're open, just type yes in the chat box or open in the chat box. First we'll do, now we are not running this. First we'll create the worksheet like this, and then we will create a, okay, create this. Okay, now here there is example of sandwich. So test of the sandwich is what is the Y here, and there is this hotel here. The cook, basically the chef, they have decided there are certain critical factors, experimental factors. So the test is our Y, and oven temperature is X1, brand of bread is X2, quantity of onion is X3, and time of cooking is X4. They're the 4 factors and the test is Y. All right. Now, how do we create this? Let me just first clarify that. Okay. So here, um, there are 4 factors. Okay. And 2 levels. So how many runs will be there? Type in the chat box. How many runs will be there? So what is the formula for runs? L raised to F. So 2 levels raised to 4. How many runs? Will be 16 runs, correct? And to eliminate the lurking variable, we have to repeat. So instead of 16, we have to conduct 32 runs. Clear everybody? Clear? Very good. So temperature, bread, onion, and time of cooking. So this is how so let's do one thing. How do we create this, first of all? So go to stat, DOE, factorial, create factorial design. Just follow this path, please. Stat, DOE, factorial, create factorial design. Stat, DOE, factorial, create factorial design. Okay. Once you have done that, this window will appear. All right. Now we are talking about 2 factors here. The first, by default, it is 2 factors. Okay. So number of factors here. Oh, sorry, 2 levels. So 2 level factorial. So we have 2 levels only in every factor. And number of factors, we have 4. Correct? We have 4 factors and 2 levels. Okay. Everybody with me? Just give me yes in the chat box. We are going very slowly. So it is stat, DOE, factorial, create factorial design. Once it is done, then 2 level factorial. It is 2 level. It is by default. Then select 4 factors, which is what we have. Now just click on display available designs. Okay, display available designs. Click on that. Okay, so these are various designs and resolutions which basically we cover in the advanced DOE. Okay, it is also called as fractional factorial design. Instead of 32, we can experiment with only 16. Instead of 16, we can experiment with only 8. Or instead of 32, we can only experiment with 8 as well. 8 runs. Okay. That is called fractional factorial, just for your understanding. Okay. It's called Pluckett-Berman design, which I will explain you in the advanced level of DOE. Let's go back to this and come to designs. Click on designs, everybody. Here, just below display available designs, there is a design. Now there are 2 options, half fraction and full factorial. As of now, in the black belt level, we have only full factorial design. So we'll select full factorial, 2 raised to 4. Okay. Number of center points, just keep it as 0. Number of replicates. Replicate is nothing but a repetition. So how many number of replicates we have? 2 replicates. Clear, everybody? Just type yes in the chat box. So here in the replicate, just select 2. And here, just select full factorial and say OK. Clear? Now go to factors. Now go to factors. Here we have to give the factor. Okay. कौन-कौन से factor है? So I'm just giving the name. You can also give the name here. The first factor is, let's say, oven temperature. So I'm just typing temperature. It's a numeric data. The lower factor of oven temperature is 60. So I'm just typing 60 here, and the higher level is 65. Okay. The second one is called bread, the brand of bread. Okay. So I'm just typing bread here. It is not numeric data. It is text data. That's what I said. Discrete data. Now text data is discrete data, right? Britannia or Wibs, it's a discrete data, correct? So here on the lower side, I will write Wibs. On the higher side, I will write Britannia. Or you can change to Wibs and Britannia alternatively as well, doesn't matter. Third factor is onion, quantity of onion. So I will write onion here. I will write onion, numeric data. The lower setting is 1 and the higher setting is 2. That means in the lower setting, we'll only keep one piece of onion. In the higher setting, we'll keep two pieces of onion. Okay. And then the time of cooking. The third one, the fourth one is called time of cooking, the time. Now the time again, the numeric data, the lower setting is at 3 and the higher setting is at 5. Everybody with me? Just check out these settings and just type yes in the chat box. Done, everybody? Temperature, bread, onion, and time. Everybody, thank you very much. Everybody else give me the confirmation so that I can move forward. Take your time to enter this so that you will get the idea about it. Okay, done? Just click on OK. Now in the option, let's see what is there in the option. Okay. So here we are saying that randomize runs. Okay. Because do you remember randomize and replication, or which is repetition? So randomization and replication is to avoid those lurking factors. Okay. So randomize runs, we have to basically tick. Okay. And then store design the worksheet. So now here, if you remember the gauge R&R study, how many of you remember we had put a number, a random generator number? How many of you remember we put 1, 2, 3 over there? Everybody has put 1, 2, 3 in the random generator number. What it will do is it will create a same order for everybody. Clear? Just put 1, 2, 3. You can put any number, but it has to be constant number. And just say okay. And just say okay. And here we go. We have got this design done. How many of you got it? Everybody got it? Just type yes in the chat box. Now, if you put 1, 2, 3 in your standard order number, you would see the first one would be 18, second one 12, third one 5, 28. Are you observing the same sequence? Just give me yes in the chat box. Standard order में same sequence आ रहा है आपका? Yes. Okay. So whenever you want to generate the same order, just in that random order generator, just keep the same number and everybody will generate, because the same algorithm will get triggered and it will create that. Okay. Now let's go back. Let's go back. Just a simple trick. Go to option. Go back meaning just go back to this, Control E. You can just put Control E, which is your edit last dialog box. Okay. Just press on that, click on that and click on option. Now in this case, remove this 1, 2, 3 and remove randomize run. अभी randomize run को उड़ा देते हैं. Let it be unrandomized only. Okay. Just click on OK and click on OK. Wow. Can you see here? The standard order and the run order are exactly same. Can you see here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And run order is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. Super clear with this? आप करके देखिए so that you'll get the confidence about it. Okay. Very good. Now let's look at our full factorial design wala case. Okay. So we have got x1, x2, x3 and x4, and here will be test. That will be our y, correct? So x1, every alternate, right? Minus plus, minus plus, minus plus, minus plus, and it continues. The second one is, if you remember, it is minus minus plus plus minus minus plus plus. The third one is 4 times, right? Minus 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 plus 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 plus, again minus 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 minus, again plus 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 plus. And the fourth one 8 times. Okay, change after 8 times. So this is minus 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 minus, and then plus 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 plus. Again, it will go to minus 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 and continues. Clear everybody? Just type yes in the chat box. So full factorial का design clear हो गया. First alternate, second after every 2, third after every 4, fourth after every 4. Very simple. 1, 2, 4, 8. 1, 2, 4, 8. Remember this sequence. Just give me yes in the chat box. Now you have to run the experiment. You have to run the experiment and you have to find out the test. Okay. Now we will open that file and now we will do the analysis of the data. Yahan tak everybody is clear? What is reactive way of collecting the data? What is proactive way of collecting the data? What is one factor at a time? What is keeper strategy? What is full factorial design? Clear? In this, what different types of factors are there? Okay. What is experiment? What is run? What are different types of factors, which is experimental factor, constant factor, and a noise factor. Noise factor meaning we cannot control them. Okay. And there is a fourth factor, which I give the example of. This is called lurking factors. Okay. The chicken example or Sia's example. Correct. That is a lurking factor. So to find out, the effect of this, we basically randomize and replicate this. And so we have created, the full factorial design. First manually we created, and then with the help of Minitab we have created. Till now everybody is clear? Just give me yes in the chat box. Super. Super. Now let's do one thing. Let's go for analysis of it. Okay. चलो अभी analysis करते हैं. To go to analysis, have you opened the file which was shared to you? The people who have just joined, yes, just now, this is the file we are referring to. And the people whose Zoom is not updated or they are not able to download it from, from the chat. Okay. You can get this file from the Black Belt curriculum content. I'll just show you that from where you can download this file. I'm just opening your LMS system. Okay, ये Black Belt का आपका course है. This is your course number 2 in Six Sigma Black Belt certification. And if you see here, scroll down after analyze phase. In the analyze phase itself, there is something called design of experiments. Okay, see in the Black Belt, no, you just have to study these topics where exclusively it is written Black Belt. उतने ही टॉपिक आपको कवर करने हैं. अंडरस्टैंड दिस? ओके. जहां पे लिखा है ग्रीन बेल्ट, ब्लैक बेल्ट, कॉमन टॉपिक्स, those topics you can skip while studying. Okay, why these topics are given? Now let's say you have done a green belt and there is a huge gap of, let's say, 3 months to 6 months or 1 year before you come to black belt. Then these topics are also given as a refresher for you. Okay, you can just check these topics one by one and it will refresh your memory, and then you can go for the examination. That's the idea behind it. Okay, but if you are in continuation after green belt, you are continuing the black belt immediately, then you can easily skip the topics like green and black belt common topics. Like, for example, look at this. Analyze phase, green belt and black belt common. These common topics like basic hypothesis, cause and effect, why analysis, they are common topics. You need not to study them again in the black belt. You can easily skip them. Are you clear with this? Just give me yes in the chat box. Super clear? All the new people especially, okay? Those people who haven't started yet the black belt, for them, I'm just explaining it to you, okay? Amazing, amazing. Chaliye, so let's go for the analysis. So now here we have collected the data. So where is the file? Okay, this is not a file, huh? Yeh file hai kya? No, this is not the file. This is the file, okay? Everybody got the test in C9 column? Just check that. सबको टेस्ट मिल गया है C9 कॉलम में. Anybody has not got the test here? Let me know in the chat box. Yes, got it? Fantastic. Now what we need to do is go to stat, DOE, factorial, and analyze factorial design. Just below the create factorial design, thoda 4 factors niche, there is something called analyze factorial design. Everybody just click on that. This window will appear. Now you need to select the response here, and the response is obviously the test. The response is obviously the test, right? Now let's go to terms. Let's see what is there inside. Now in the terms, we have selected all the terms. I'll explain you what is terms, okay? I'll explain you what is terms. So terms to okay hai. Then options में क्या है? नहीं, options में भी कुछ नहीं है. Graphs. Okay, graphs में भी कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Okay, just select the test and say okay. Wow. Lot of graphs you would have got, right? Everybody got various graphs. Just type yes in the chat box. सबको graphs मिले हैं. Just give me yes. Anybody behind? Stat, DOE, factorial, analyze factorial design. Okay. Now understand this. In the master black belt level, okay, we cover response surface, mixture design, the Taguchi approach. Okay. Now everybody will not use this, but whoever can use this. Okay. And then we can use this factorial, cube plot, contour plot, surface plot, overlaid contour plot. All these things will be covered in the master black belt level. Okay. Now analyze factorial design ko select karna hai, test ko select karna hai, click on OK. You will get this file. Clear, everybody? Just give me yes in the chat box. So let's come to the first graph. This is called residual plot. Now, what is residual? Try to understand this. Everybody knows the line of best fit, right? In the regression, we have seen line of best fit like this. This is X and this is Y. Correct? Just give me yes in the chat box. What is residual? Residual is nothing but the distance between actual point, and if I draw a vertical line here, what is the distance between this actual point and the point on the line of best fit? This is called residual. Okay. This is called residual. Let's say this is R1. This is R2. Okay. This distance is R3. This distance is R4. So these are called residuals basically. R for residual. Residual is distance between the line of best fit and the actual. Now, if I check all the residues, and as residues are normally distributed, can you see a normal distribution here in histogram? If I just plot the residuals over here, just type yes in the chat box. Everybody, can you see a normality, a symmetry here? A mirror image? Yes or no? Everybody, हाँ या ना कुछ तो बोलो. हाँ समझ रहा है नहीं समझ रहा है. Clear? Very simple. So software will calculate, okay, the residual. Now see the logic. See the logic. See the logic. Okay. Now imagine ये residual आए कहां से? Because we have done the replication, एक ही setting के हम लोगों ने 2 points लिए. Understand this? Okay. Imagine this. एक ही setting के 2 point लिए हम लोगों ने, right? 2 runs लिए. Now it is expected that one run and the second run will be very close to the center and very close to each other. So in a complete standardized manner, they will create a kind of a mirror image. With the line of best fit, they will create a mirror image. If I run this, they will create something, a mirror image, and this is exactly what is being shown here. This versus fit is nothing but all the residuals, mirror images are there. Are you understanding this? Just type yes in the chat box. Clear hai everybody? Just give me yes. So this is called normal probability plot or simply normality test. Okay. Now, if residuals are not normally distributed, you will see a data like this. Okay, but right now it is very much in on the line of the best fit. So we can say that residual plots are showing that. So this is called stability. These two graphs are showing stability and these two graphs are showing normality. Everybody clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. Now all the things what we have covered, stability, normality, capability. Remember that S and C, all those things will be covered here. Hypothesis testing will be covered here. Regression will be covered here. SNC will be covered here. Clear? Just type yes in the chat box. Okay. Once if you don't see any abnormality in the residual plots, let's move to the next plot, which is called a standardized effect plot. Now, what is standardized effect plot? Now, what is standardized effect? Standardized effect is nothing but, this standardized effect is nothing but, you have all the effect, right? Effect is the test, correct? So we have got 32 readings of the test, correct, everybody? We have got 32 readings. So they have calculated standard deviation of those 32 readings. Okay. And what is standardized effect? Let's say test number, the first test is there. Let's say run test is 8. Okay. Second test is 7. Third test is 6. So what they will do, let's say standard deviation is 0.5. I'm just giving you example. So what is standardized effect? 8 into 0.5 is equal to 4. That is called standardized effect. So effect, which is y into standard deviation, is called standardized effect. Just for your understanding. Okay. Doesn't matter. Just for your understanding. Okay. Standardized effect is nothing but effect into standard deviation. It's called standardized effect. And this is called percentiles. Remember 99 percentiles we have? How many of you remember percentiles? The green belt people, green belt also we cover percentiles and quartiles, right? In the box plot. Yes, you remember that? Everybody? Super, super. So what does this tell us? Understand this. This is very, very interesting here. Here you can see the green dots and there are certain red dots. Okay. Now the green dots, or sorry, blue dots, the blue dots are not significant and the red dots are significant. Now we have 4 factors here. Factor A is oven temperature, B is brand of bread, C is quantity of onion, and D is time of cooking. Now the C and D is significant factors. So quantity of onion and time of cooking are the what again the significant factors. So these are 2 factors which are basically shown in red. Are you clear? So out of all the experiments, these 2 factors have the highest number of impact on our test. Clear, everybody? That is called significant factor. Just type yes in the chat box. Clear? Just give me yes in the chat box, everybody. Yes. And let's open the Pareto as well. This is called Pareto chart. Just click on the effect Pareto on the left hand side, the graph may. You will see this Pareto. This is called the line of significance, which is at 2.120. Okay. Any bar, this is again to Pareto, which is highest to lowest. Okay. So any bar, again, this is a standardized effect which are plotted. This is the highest standardized effect. This is the second highest, third highest, and the fourth highest. So any standardized effect which is going beyond the line of significance, it's called a critical. So here also it is matching C and D. These are the critical factors. Are you understanding this? Just type yes in the chat box. Clear with this? Just give me yes. Okay, now here look at this. So A, B, C, D to understood. What is this A, B, C, D? What is C, D? What is B, C, D? What is this? Line of significance, meaning beyond this, if it goes, that is a significant factor which is contributing. There is a formula to calculate this. There is a specific formula to calculate this. So any factor, any standardized effect goes beyond the line of significance, that is considered as a significant factor. Okay. Now, the question is A, B, C, and D, we have understood. These are the main factors, right? A, B, C, D are the main factors. But there are a combination of factors as well. How many of you remember yesterday's matrix plot? Kisko yaad hai matrix plot? Just give me yes in the chat box. How many of you this matrix plot? Just type yes in the chat box. You remember yesterday evening we did matrix plots like this? So in the bottom, all those these four graphs were about the main effect. But what about this graph, this graph, this graph, this and this? It was about the x1 and x2, correct? So in this case, there can be a two-way interaction of AB, AC, AD, BC, BD. These are the two-way interactions. So this is called main effect. Write this down. They are called two-way interactions. Two-way interactions. Apart from that, there is a three-way interaction as well. A, B, C. Okay, A, C, D, like this. They are called three-way interaction. And there is a four-way interaction, which is A, B, C, and D, which is a four-way interaction. Are you clear with this? So in the entire combination and permutation, you will get main effect, two-way interaction. You can see the two-way interactions here. Three-way interactions as well. And the four-way. There is only one four-way interaction with ABCD. Clear? Just give me yes in the chat box. Clear hai everybody? Just give me yes. Yes, combination of X and X. X1, X2, X3, and X4 together. Okay, they also have a combined impact on the Y. So that is also studied. Okay. Super clear? Yahan tak everybody with me? Just give me yes in the chat box. Okay. किसका भेजा फ्राई हो गया? How many of you are feeling bheja fried right now? Okay, Anushka is saying me. Who else? भेजा फ्राई किसका हुआ है अभी तक? Okay, चलो. So आगे बढ़ने से पहले, okay, let's take a quick break of 10 minutes. Okay. Why the combination of major two factors are not showing more weightage? It depends. It depends. If the interaction of two factors have a significant impact, it will be shown. If interaction, let's say the question is very important question. Look at this. The question is CD, the main effect has got important impact, but the combination of CD has not this one. So this impact is not significant. What could be the reason? It is possible, right? It is possible. Correct. I'll give you a classic example of this. I'll give you a classic example. Okay. Let's say Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, they are making centuries. Okay. Individually. But as a partnership, they're running between the wicket. Their coordination may not be as good. So as a partnership, they are not impactful. But individually, yes, both are making centuries and making impact. Are you clear with this? But when they play together, they are not impactful. This is a fantastic example. Amitabh and Shashi Kapoor. Acha. Okay. Clear, eh? So even though the factors are significant, that does not mean the combination of factor also can be significant as well. Not necessary. Okay. Chaliye. So on this note, we will just take a 10 minutes break. And once we are back, we will continue this session. Okay. Chalo. Let's take a break off. And we'll be back at 8:40. Okay. 8:40 को वापस आएंगे. ठीक है? चलिए. Enjoy करिए break को. Have your coffee, tea. थोड़ा fresh हो जाइए and let's come back. Okay, guys, once you are back, just type I am back in the chat box so that we can start the session again. The remaining part.